Y'all, Jaguar Wright might want to take a step back from the limelight because she just came out to reveal that Diddy allegedly put a hit out on her because she knows way too much and he is trying to silence her for good. If there is one person who has been keeping her foot firmly on Diddy's neck, it's Jaguar Wright, because she is determined to make sure that he pays for his crimes and that everybody knows about them, and she's determined to send him to prison no matter what. But it looks like she's starting to get closer and closer to his deepest, darkest secret. See, Jaguar recently claimed that she has some really bad dirt on Diddy that he is trying to protect. She claimed that this is worse than anything that we've heard about him and that it's game over for him if she reveals it. However, she might have overplayed her hand a little bit because Diddy is now coming for her allegedly, and Jaguar is terrified of what he's going to do to her. Are the feds really planning to put her in witness protection? Now, for a long time now, people have been wondering how exactly Jaguar has so much tea and dirt on these celebs, because listen, it's like she's been a fly on everybody's wall, getting all of everybody's tea, especially when it comes to Jay-Z and Diddy. Well, for those of you who are not in the loop, Jaguar is actually not just a truth teller, but she's a singer who used to work closely with Jay-Z back in the day. Y'all remember? She was H to the is O, V to the is A, and do you ever have the possibilities? Yeah, she did his whole MTV Unplugged album in 2001. Don't know what exactly it was that Jaguar saw while she was with Jay-Z, but it must have been something terribly awful, because 23 years have passed and she is still putting her back into exposing Jay-Z and spilling the tea about things she saw while working with him, as well as all the shady business that he and his BFF Diddy have been up to since then. Well, it looks like Mr. Diddy is sick and tired of having Jaguar speak on his name, especially after her last bombshell interview where she hinted that she has some even more damaging dirt on Diddy, and allegedly he put a hit out on her and tried to unalive her. Now, Diddy is allegedly no stranger to putting out a hit on his ops, because there are several instances where he has been accused in the past of putting a hit on people that went against him. Back in the early to mid 90s, he and Wendy Williams got into it after Wendy spilled some spicy tea on him on a radio show. But the wild part about it is that Wendy actually used to be on his side at a time when the entire media was against him. I'm talking about the events of December 1991, long before Diddy even established Bad Boy Records. He and rapper Heavy D collaborated to organize a charity basketball game at the City College of New York, but things went quickly left when the venue became overcrowded, resulting in a tragic stampede that claimed 9 lives and left 29 others injured. Diddy got a lot of backlash for that event, especially when we found out that he oversold the show, causing the overcrowding, which led to the stampede. It got even worse when we found out that the funds supposedly raised for those foundations never even reached them. Some of the charities even claimed that they had no knowledge that Diddy was even collecting donations in their name, which added another layer of suspicion. The media launched a scathing attack on Diddy, but Wendy stood as one of the few defenders in his corner. She championed him, dismissing the allegations as misunderstandings and begging fans and the media to give Diddy a chance to explain before rushing to judgment. So it seemed like she and Diddy were actually good back then. But the moment Wendy began shedding light on Diddy's shady activities, he wasted no time in turning against her. He launched a full-scale campaign to sabotage her career. He came very close to ruining her life. But considering that Wendy had shown her support to him in the past, you'd think that he would try to talk things out before trying to turn violent, right? Well, allegedly not Diddy. Instead of talking it out and trying to fix it, Diddy tried to get her jumped by his girl group Toto.
I remember I got off the air one day and them Total bitches were downstairs waiting, and everybody upstairs at the radio station is looking down, egging it on, waiting for something to go down. I wasn't yet married. My knight in shining armor screeched up in his car just out of nowhere. I didn't even know what was about to happen. Skell hiding like a girl. Thanks, Skell. I'm standing in the door like, what? And I'm literally about to go through. Now, I'm not like what, let's fight, because I'm not one of those type of broads. And plus, there was 3 of them.
But when that didn't work, he then forced the radio station to fire her, threatening to remove all his artist songs from rotation on the station. But he didn't stop there. He also warned that none of his industry friends or connections would ever use Hot 97 to promote their artist either, unless they fired Wendy. Well, Diddy was already pretty influential in Hollywood at the time, so when he made those threats, you better believe he could and would follow through.
Puff got one of the hottest DJs off of Hot 97 because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down. You understand what I'm saying? Puff had power. For whatever reason, dude was playing with Puff. He went behind him and grabbed his trunks and pulled them down. When he grabbed his trunk to pull us down, some girls that was taking pictures. They took that picture and emailed it back to Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said she had him in a compromising position and like it was gay porn or something like that. And she was gonna put it out. So they stopped her from putting it out.
And they got her fired from Hot 97 because of that.
Well, Wendy had also talked about this in the past, saying that Diddy started a hate campaign against her for trying to expose him.
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full.
Wendy's now ex-husband Kevin Hunter even spoke about this in an interview, revealing how close Diddy came to ruining Wendy's career and life.
Is it true that Diddy got her fired from the radio station? Did he have anything to do with that?
I think that he had, yes, I think he had, well, let's be clear, nobody got fired.
Okay.
He got suspended.
Okay.
Yeah. Did he use his influence and power with Steve Smith and him at the time, and God knows whatever his relationship was with the overall station, because Bad Boy was a powerhouse. We all know how Bad Boy dominated a large part of the 90s. And as far as New York, you know, there was a powerhouse. So was he, you know, King Joffrey Joe? Yeah. Did he go in there and shake him up and say, yo, you know, I want this chick off? She dissing my group and all kinds of shit, yeah.
But I mean, when you look at the history of Diddy's connections, Wendy got off pretty light when it compared to people like Tupac and Biggie Smalls, because allegedly, Diddy took them out because they crossed him, or he just simply wanted them out, allegedly. Rumor has it that Diddy allegedly slapped a $1 million bounty on Pac's head because he wanted him gone and out. Yeah, you heard that right, $1 billion to anybody that could take Pac out. That's a crazy amount of money right now, but back in 1995, that was an insane amount of money. But here's where things got even more concrete. This talk of Diddy putting out a bounty isn't just idle gossip. Several people have come forward to confirm it, including none other than Keefe D himself. One of Keefe D's associates spilled the tea, revealing that Diddy did indeed pay that $1 million. The catch though, it never made its way to Keefe D because somebody down the line got a little too greedy for their own good.
Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money
I heard
to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefe and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy would be in prison now, money for hire, a murder for hire. So thank God, it's just a true story. I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been a murder for hire and Puffy would be locked up.
I wonder if Diddy made sure that money got right back in his own pockets. Let me know what you think in the comments. Keefe even revealed that FBI was able to trace the money, confirming that Diddy paid it out, but it didn't get to Keefe.
The FBI said
so the FBI told you the
he
same
was a
thing?
dirty motherfucker, yeah.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody crossed you.
As for Biggie, well, there have been claims that Diddy allegedly took him out because Biggie was trying to leave Bad Boy Records and take a lot of artists with him. Not to mention that he would also take his masters with him, which were worth a whole lot back then, and millions of dollars today.
This money. So he showed me, I said, you about to get that money? He said, yeah, look at this. It had Charlie Baltimore, Cameron, Little C's, Little Kim, Junior Mafia, Tracy, I don't know, Tracy Murray,
Tracy Lee.
Tracy Lee, and the Commission. And I think the contract was for so many years for like 62 million. It comes out to like $62 million.
What's even shadier is that Diddy's other bodyguard, Uncle Ron, claimed that Diddy wanted to take Biggie out and had allegedly offered him $30,000 to do it.
Jay-Z and Puffy wanted Biggie killed. Bottom line. You don't have to believe me, believe the facts. Here's a man that wanted to leave Bad Boy. He wanted to do his own thing. He mentioned several times how he was tired of being used and abused, that he was bigger than Bad Boy itself. I was offered $30,000 to perform a hit on Biggie Smalls. March 1st of 1997, I was approached by Diddy to perform a hit on one of his artists. Finding out that he wanted all the rights to all his catalogs. I turned him down because I also found out that very night that Biggie had plans of leaving Bad Boy.
So $1 million for Pac, but only $30,000 for Biggie? Yeah, it's just a cold, cold world. But don't even get me started on how he allegedly blew up Kid Cudi's car for talking to Cassie and all the other allegations. Now, if he allegedly did all this to people who didn't really do him that dirty, can you even imagine what he's going to do to someone who's been exposing some shady secrets about him? Somebody like Jaguar Wright, for example? Well, this is why it isn't surprising that Jaguar is now claiming that he has allegedly put out a hit on her. She's scared for her life. To be honest, y'all, I've been scared for Jaguar since she started spilling this tea. Considering all that she's been spilling, it's safe to say that Diddy would be furious. I mean, she was the first to expose Diddy's alleged affair with Clive Davis, claiming that Clive was allegedly bending Diddy over and clapping his cheeks in exchange for betraying Diddy's mentor Andre Harrell and helping Diddy to set up Bad Boy Records. But if you think about it carefully, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that Diddy, who was just an intern at Uptown Records, ended up getting a deal to start his own record label, even though he didn't have that much experience in music. He started an internship at Uptown Records in 1990, and 3 years later, in 1993, he got fired. Then he started Bad Boy Records in partnership with Arista Records, which is owned by none other than Clive Davis. Sure, Bad Boy Records ended up becoming super successful, but at the time, Diddy was pretty much a newbie in the game. So people have always wondered how he was able to convince Clive to fund his record label. And it wasn't like Clive had a lot of faith in Bad Boy Records being successful, because he himself admitted it. In an interview, he revealed that Diddy put pressure on him, saying, "Sean Combs convinced me that Top 40 was going to embrace hip-hop. It seemed so unlikely then. When he played me Craig Mack's 1994 hit Flavor in Your Ear and Notorious B.I.G. material when he was totally unknown, this 21 to 22-year-old guy was seeing clearly how music was changing." So Bad Boy Records was Diddy's dream, not necessarily something that Clive was interested in, but he still decided to fund the label. And with Jaguar's new revelations, it looks like we finally might have our answers. According to Jaguar, Diddy was allegedly groomed and SA'd by his mentor Andre Harrell, who started Uptown Records, and get this, he claims that Andre himself was allegedly groomed by Clive. Whew, y'all, talk about a psycho mess.
My focus right now is Sean Combs.
Okay, tell us why. Tell us why.
Because he's a sex trafficker. And he's using music and entertainment to sex traffic.
Now, is this just boys, girls, adults, kids? I
mean, from what I've heard from sources that I would consider reliable, it really doesn't matter.
Wow.
I don't think sexuality is something that has anything to do with gender at this point for Sean. I honestly think he's just an extreme narcissist who loves power. He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor, who loved to control people.
And his mentor was
Andre Harrell.
Tell us how
who
was
was
he
mentored by Clive Davis.
And when it comes to why Clive decided to fund Bad Boy Records, Jaguar revealed something very interesting.
Tell me that Andre Harrell got touched by Clive Davis too.
I'm telling you, I don't know what happened between Andre and Clive. What I do know is that Andre got passed over. Like, how do you go from being the president of Uptown and losing your entire company to your intern? Like, Puff started out as an intern.
Yeah, y'all stuff ain't making no kind of sense. Diddy has always acknowledged Clive, and in 2019, after he won the Grammy Icon Award, he said, "Clive Davis and Arista Records gave me a chance when I was starting Bad Boy Records. He was one of the first industry executives to really believe in me. I'm forever grateful for him." Well, if the new reports are anything to go by, the reason Clive funded Bad Boy and tossed Andre aside wasn't because he had faith in Diddy. Instead, it was allegedly because he and Diddy were secretly involved in some hanky-panky.
Now, rumor has it, allegedly, Diddy got on his knees for Clive Davis in 1994, and that's how Bad Boy Records came about.
Oh, and there's also these allegations that Jaguar made about how Diddy allegedly helped Clive cover up Whitney Houston's murder. Now, while Whitney Houston was initially mentored by Clive, reports from the time suggest that her mentor-protege relationship had hit a rough patch. It was rumored that Whitney was trying to break free from Clive's tight control, alleging he kept her under lock and key, dictating her every move and restricting her freedom. Jaguar also claimed that Clive allegedly wanted to control Whitney's masters, which was worth millions upon millions of dollars. Understandably, Clive reportedly wasn't willing to release his lucrative asset. I mean, we're talking about Whitney Nippy Houston, Mrs. And I will always love you. A legendary talent who was raking in crazy profits for him. According to the grapevine, Clive was determined to maintain his hold over her. And if he couldn't, well then nobody could. Allegedly, according to Jaguar, Clive took drastic measures just to show how messed up this whole thing was. In the days leading up to Whitney's tragic end, there were reports of her acting all kinds of erratic after meeting with Clive. According to reports, she had gone to visit Clive while he was preparing for his annual pre-Grammys party. And even though we don't know what happened between those two after she left Clive, media reported that she appeared disheveled and disoriented, with what looked like sweat running down her face and blood dripping down her leg. 2 days after this, she was found unconscious in the bathtub and she passed away. But the crazy part about this is that Clive refused to cancel this party. And this got him major side eyes from a whole lot of people in the industry. The most he did was give a speech at the party saying, "By now, you have all learned of the unspeakably tragic news of our beloved Whitney's passing. I don't have to mask my emotions in front of a room full of so many dear friends. I am personally devastated by the loss of someone who has meant so much to me for so many years. Whitney was so full of life. Whitney was a beautiful person and a talent beyond compare." Yeah, he talked about being heartbroken, but really, how heartbroken could you be if you didn't even cancel the party out of respect for your longtime protege and friend? And as if that wasn't bad enough, the party went down in the very hotel where Whitney passed away. And y'all, her body wasn't even moved out until minutes before the party started. Call it what you want, but there's got to be some eerie tension in the space where you're popping champagne downstairs and your friend's lifeless body is just the floor above. It's definitely giving carelessness and betrayal. If I was Whitney, I'd be haunting that whole party. But even reporters of CBS News found this weird and they wrote, "Houston's body remained in the hotel room hours after emergency responders pronounced her dead. Downstairs, Davis's extravagant party went on as planned as investigators roamed the hotel lobby and women wearing designer ball gowns and men dressed in tuxedos shuffled by towards the red carpet." Then there's this super disturbing report from a private investigator who revealed that Whitney had some defense wounds on her body. According to the report, a private investigator named Paul Hubel says he has surveillance video from the Beverly Hilton where Houston was staying when she died in February that supports this story. Contrary to the coroner's conclusion that her death was accidental, Hubel claims that Whitney's body shows some classic defense wounds consistent with someone fighting for her life. Now, Jaguar also spoke on this, insisting that Whitney did not die in a bathtub like everybody was told.
She was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat.
Now, if you're wondering how Diddy got tied into this, well, we all know how he was Clive's go-to guy, and if Clive told him to keep his mouth shut about Whitney's alleged murder, you know Diddy's sealing those lips tight. But here's where it gets wild. After the party, Diddy got hospitalized with a migraine, and his team said that it was because he partied too hard. But y'all, we're talking about the same Diddy who's been partying like it's his job since the 90s. Yeah, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Do y'all think that Diddy did something to Whitney Houston and her defense wounds ended up on him, causing him to get hospitalized? Put it down in the comments. But according to Jaguar, Diddy's story about migraines was allegedly a ploy to establish his alibi. Word on the streets is suggesting that he was trying to prove he was too sick to have engaged in a physical altercation with Whitney, as some reports, including Jaguar's, implied. Why? Allegedly, he was still covering his tracks in case law enforcement launched an investigation. Now, I'm not saying that Diddy had a hand in Whitney's demise. I'm just telling y'all what the streets are saying and tossing some conspiracies out there. Let me know what you think, because these whispers at the time, if he was seeking an alibi just in case. But Jaguar didn't stop there. She then called out Diddy for allegedly trying to recreate this troubled dynamic between Clive Davis and his own underlings, including his former assistant Farnsworth Bentley. In a recent interview, Jaguar claimed that Diddy allegedly held undue influence over Farnsworth, forcing him into master-subordinate relationship.
Let me ask you this. What do you think Diddy and Farnsworth Bentley's real relationship was?
Concubine, master.
Even more sinister, Whitney's only child, Bobby Christina Brown, passed away only 3 years after her mom in suspiciously similar circumstances, and Jaguar claimed that Clive allegedly took her out to get full control of Whitney's masters. Jaguar also had a little something to say about Kim Porter's death, hinting that Diddy had something to do with that too. There were reports coming out that even Kim Porter's family believed that Diddy might have had something to do with it in Kim's passing, and they didn't believe that she passed away from pneumonia, like the autopsy claimed. There were reports of her family seeking legal advice on whether they could bring the lawsuit against Diddy for wrongful death. This was all before Cassie and the other lawsuits, so it's not like the family was trying to get clout or some type of payday or nothing like that. A source leaked the information and claimed that the reason the family chose not to file the lawsuit was that they allegedly had been contacted by the FBI. The source said, "They all have been contacted by the FBI, and 3 family members and 6 friends have been interviewed already and have been told to stay quiet." According to Kim's ex, Cassie told lawyers upon filing her own lawsuit against Diddy that she had information about the death of Kim Porter, and she has proof of the reason why Kim was murdered. But that's not all, y'all, because we also have the allegations that there's a lot of cover-up over Kim's death. And this anonymous person claimed that when Kim passed, there were questions about the manner in which she died. If they were going to say that it was pneumonia and that she passed away peacefully in sleep, then why was there blood located on Kim's pillowcases and also a slight trail of blood on the bedroom floor that led to the bathroom? The insider added that Kim actually passed away in the bathroom and had been strategically placed on the bed, where she was found hours later. Plus, there's this weird allegation that the doctor supervising her was handpicked by Diddy, and nobody else was allowed to get close to her. The insider concluded, also the last call Kim made was to 911 at 2:43 a.m., but Kim was found passed away later in the morning, around 11 a.m., according to Kimora Simmons. But if that wasn't fishy already, the initial coroner who did the autopsy on her body had a hunch something was off due to some shady toxins found in her system. But get this, he got fired and a new coroner took over, concluding she died from pneumonia. And to add more drama, the first coroner who was sounding the alarm bells conveniently then passed away under natural causes, which just sounds like a very bad cover-up. Jaguar Wright also had something very interesting to say about this entire situation.
Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And
she also pointed out how a lot of people around Diddy end up dying under shady circumstances, including Al B. Shore, who almost lost his life and was in a coma.
And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim's dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only two left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
She also pointed out how shady it was that they were all about to pass away writing tell-all books about Diddy.
Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Shore was working on the documentary of his life.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. It low-key sounds like people have been trying to warn us about Diddy and his shady activities for a long time, but somehow they conveniently managed to pass away under natural causes before they were able to do it. In Al B. Shore's case, not only was he working on a documentary, but he also hinted that Diddy had something to do with Kim's passing only a few days before he had a medical crisis and went into a coma. He wrote, "I found this footage from the morning I learned of Kim Porter's murder and how it ripped the soul from my physical body. I do know very clearly that Kimberly didn't just check out all of a sudden over pneumonia. That's some BS. We just celebrated our son's new deal and Christmas special with Netflix, and she was in fantastic health as well, laughing, seeing me and Diddy's mutual exchange at the theater. I'm going to leave it here. Don't let the love songs fool you." Now, the fact that he boldly tagged Diddy and then hashtagged him, yeah, looks like Al 100% believes that Diddy took Kim out. Al also hinted that Kim was unalived, posting a throwback picture of the two of them in writing, "She sent me this saying, 'Life imitating art, art imitates life.' Now it all makes sense. She told me other stuff too. She was running. I said, call the FBI." Yeah, Jaguar has exposed more stuff about Diddy than the feds, so it's not really surprising that Diddy allegedly put a hit out on her. But according to Jaguar, he is not putting a hit on her for the things she said about him. He's allegedly putting a hit on her for things she knows about him but hasn't said yet. Jaguar claims that she allegedly has some more damaging tea on Diddy that's worse than what we've even heard, and we've heard a whole lot from her. She's alleging that he is trying to silence her to protect his biggest secret. And of course the fans have weighed in on this. They've been leaving comments saying, "I bet everyone wishes they had listened to Jaguar from the beginning. She was there. She was hurt herself by the industry. We're not talking about Jaguar Wright enough. Protect her at all costs." And Diddy did kill Kim Porter. He poisoned her with poison that produced pneumonia. So whoever works for Diddy, be careful. Diddy killed Kim Porter so he could stop her book from coming out. Protect Jaguar Wright at all costs. There is so much going on in the industry in 2024. But I need for y'all to weigh in on this. Do you really think that Jaguar Wright is telling the truth? What do you think this big secret could be? Drop your thoughts and comments below and then check out this next video.